pregnant black woman clutched her husband's hand, her heart racing with hope for their unborn child, until a doctor's cruel words shattered her dignity, unaware that in just 15 minutes, her husband would turn the tables in a way no one could have predicted. Tanisha Carter sat in the waiting room of St. Mary's Medical Center, her hands resting gently on her swollen belly. At 8 months pregnant, every moment was a mix of anticipation and exhaustion. Her husband, Marcus, sat beside her, flipping through a magazine but not really reading it. His eyes kept darting to Tanisha, checking on her, making sure she was okay. They had been through too much already. Years of trying, 2 miscarriages, and now, finally, they were so close to meeting their baby girl. Tanisha's prenatal visits had become routine, but today felt different. There was a heaviness in the air, a tension she couldn't quite place. The waiting room was crowded, filled with the low hum of conversation and the occasional cough. Tanisha noticed the way some of the other patients glanced at her. Quick, fleeting looks that seemed to linger just a moment too long. She was used to it, the subtle stares that came with being a black woman in spaces that didn't always feel welcoming. But she pushed the thoughts aside. Today was about her baby, about making sure everything was on track for a healthy delivery. When the nurse finally called her name, Tanisha stood, smoothing her dress over her belly. Marcus was right behind her, his hand on the small of her back, a quiet gesture of support. They followed the nurse down a brightly lit hallway to an examination room. The nurse, a young woman with a kind smile, took Tanisha's vitals and made small talk about the weather, the baby, and how Tanisha was feeling. Everything seemed normal until the doctor walked in. Dr. Richard Hargrove was a tall man in his late 50s, with thinning gray hair and a clipboard tucked under his arm. His presence seemed to shift the energy in the room. The nurse's smile faded slightly, and she excused herself, leaving Tanisha and Marcus alone with him. Dr. Hargrove barely looked at them as he flipped through Tanisha's chart. His lips pressed into a thin line. "So, Mrs. Carter," he began, his tone clipped, "you're here for your routine checkup. Any complaints?" He didn't look up from the chart, his pen hovering over the paper. Tanisha hesitated. She had been having some mild discomfort, a tightness in her lower abdomen that came and went. It didn't seem serious, but she wanted to be thorough. "I've been feeling a little pressure, maybe some cramping," she said, her voice steady but soft. "It's not constant, but I thought I should mention it." Dr. Hargrove finally glanced at her, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Cramping," he repeated, as if the word itself was an inconvenience. "At this stage, that's not unusual. Probably just your body adjusting. You're what, 35? First pregnancy?" "Third," Tanisha corrected, her voice firm now. "I've had 2 miscarriages." Dr. Hargrove's expression didn't change. "Right," he said, jotting something down. "Well, that's not uncommon, especially given your demographic. Statistically, black women do have higher rates of complications. You're aware of that, I assume." Tanisha felt a knot form in her stomach, but it wasn't the cramping she'd mentioned. His words landed like a slap, casual but cutting. She glanced at Marcus, who had stiffened beside her,